CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. And Rashida? How would you say that?
Rashida.
Right, because it's not an S. Like, we know Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
Rashida?
Yeah, we'll ask her. She'll probably reply to it, but yes.
She's 100% right. We're coming to you live from Studio B in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We're being produced today by Stephen Nicholas. After a White Sox winner, 7-3, they went and did the damn thing, Herb.
They did. It was good to see. Early struggles by Lucas Giolito. As we discussed in the pregame, Lucas tends to give up an early home run, and this one was no different. 6 pitches into the game, Taylor Ward leaves the earth, and then he strikes out Trout and makes Ohtani look not weird, but he pops it up way high in the ceiling, and Luis Robert makes that easy catch. But Lucas does exactly what he does usually. Gives up early runs, settles in, and then I would have loved him to go 6, but he had way too many pitches, way too much pitches to get these Angels out. But 5 innings and what he did today, fine. Nothing that I would, bellyache about. Nothing I would scream from the rooftops about. It's not his best performance, but this performance versus this team is always notable because that offense can be going off, as we saw yesterday, at any time.
It's pretty interesting because I label him as okay, and then our guy Steven was like, hey, do you want the stuff graphics that I usually have? And I was like, no. I thought it was a pretty mediocre Lucas start.
Yeah.
There's some things in there. We'll get to it later. There's some things in there that surprised me. So I get your point, but Lucas looked, I thought, pretty well. I don't think we can be too much of beggars and choosers when Shohei Ohtani is one of the guys taking him deep. And, hey, we knew Taylor Ward was going deep. We should have put a lot of more. We should put money on that. I mean, we knew he was giving up a first-inning home run, so we could have sprinkled it on Ward. We could have sprinkled it on Trout. Could have sprinkled it on Ohtani. But still, I mean, even though he made that first-inning mistake, he didn't let it beat him up.
Nope.
And, again, only 3 runs. It's not great, but the bullpen was great. I mean, Reynaldo Lopez, hello, 2 innings. Back. You have our
Slider
guy,
was sliding.
Aaron Bummer getting that slider slide and getting Mike Trout to swing at one in the dirt.
Made Ohtani look real weird with a slider.
Graveman came up, buried him, and he looked a little iffy, but he was able to get the job done. So exciting win, but then even as Minidar brings up, there's Moncada grimacing as well late. And you mentioned it from the right-hand side. Yeah. The nerve and back issue that he's been having seems like it's flaring up a little bit for Yo.
Yeah, but Minidar, you also say make the trade. Make the trade to who? If he's hurt, who's accepting him? What are you getting back from him? Moncada's on the team, guys. I get it. He's on the team for this year and next year. So he's not getting traded. And yes, he's hurt. I think, as the White Sox like to do, he's hurt while rehabbing his injury on the fly. And he should just be IL'd until he can be some type of semblance of close to 100%, because this is not the guy. Yeah. The defense still plays. It always does. I mean, he did make not an error, but it was a rocket shot that turned into a double in the game. And so a regular healthy Moncada, I think, scoops that up. But for all the rest of the plays, he made him look routine. So if he can do that and you get contributions up and down the lineup like the White Sox did, I think they can deal with Moncada being less than that he is right now.
Not including today's game, but in the 17 games since Moncada has returned from the IL, 14 hits, 4 of them are extra base hits, no home runs, 16 strikeouts, only 3 walks, 241 batting average, 302 on base percentage, slugging percentage at 328. So that's an OPS of 629. Not great. I know that he's making a lot of money, but probably use a day off. I know we just saw Eloy Jimenez out in right field. He had, I think, 2 balls that he had to make plays on. One Luis Robert cut him off for, and that is a play that was kind of in between both outfielders. I don't mind Luis cutting him off. You can obviously talk about it. And then we saw one more towards the right field line that Wasn't the prettiest play, but he made it. So just seeing that Yo is struggling, I understand that you got to get Jake Burger in the lineup, but I would rather see Jake Burger play third base than Eloy Jimenez playing right field. I would rather find ways to get Yo on days off and keep Eloy in the lineup and Jake Burger in the lineup by just giving Moncada those days off, because his glove is fantastic, but he's hurt. It's clear, at least from the right-handed side, he's hurt. So if we are going to have Yoan bat from the right-handed side, well, then maybe Jake Burger platoons right-handed Yoan Moncada at third base, or Hanser Alberto platoons right-handed Yoan Moncada at third base. I understand the defense is a huge downgrade there, though, especially when you're up and trying to win a game and close out a game. But he looks horrible.
Yeah, I would think tomorrow, day game after night game. A lot of vets will get the night off. I think we'll probably see Yasmani back in there. It's a right-handed pitcher on the bump for the Angels. And then you would get Jake Burger, hopefully, at third base. You'll get your right fielder being Gavin Sheets or at designated hitter, either one of those guys. And you got to keep Eloy in the batting order. Was it 11-game hitting streak now? So, a day off from Yoan would be perfect, because then you could parlay it into 2 days off, because there's Thursday is an off day too. And then if you really are feeling your oats, you play him on Friday and Saturday, give him another off day on Sunday, because Monday is another scheduled off day for the White Sox. And then you can get him, if you're doing this on the fly, you can get him as healthy as he can be with the multiple days off, and then him off his feet and not coming into games like Pedro likes to do on his off day. Say, hey, man, you're off today. You, specifically, Yoan Moncada, are off. We're not going to go to your well at all unless we are in the 13th inning and we need a batter up, and that's your only time that we're going to play you. But, yeah, I would say IL time would be more beneficial for the White Sox and him, but they like to do it this way, and so we have to live this way where Yoan's less than. But the defense, I think you still get plus value. You get positive value out of Yoan Moncada, even though the bat is not electric or doing anything. But my guy Clark had a good point. He scored on a double from first base, so he was low flying on that Andrew Vaughn double. Not many people do that, not in this lineup. I know Andrew Vaughn, if it was the reverse, is not scoring from first. And we saw earlier in the game,
he's trying his best.
We saw earlier in the game when I was talking all year long about Jake Burger, third fastest White Sox, double down the line by Luis Robert. Jake Burger's at third. I'm like, come on, Jake. You're making me look bad out here. Come on, man. Pick him up and put him down like you usually do.
It was Vaughn caught stealing, or was that not caught stealing?
Yes, he was caught stealing because the ball got away from the catcher a bit, and then Vaughn tried to go to second. He thought he was some other player. He thought his legs worked a different way. He's playing a piano when he's out there. It's on his back, and he's playing it, because I don't know otherwise what he's doing when he puts one leg in front of the other. He should just hit the ball over the fence a little bit more so we wouldn't have to run as fast.
Runner's fielder's choice.
Okay.
So
that's a really weird thing.
He wasn't caught stealing. So, he chose to be out at second base.
By 5 to 10 feet.
I do love Andrew Vaughn. Obviously, that's been known. Came up huge. Didn't have to worry about bases loaded situation because he unloaded them, gave him a 4-3 lead. And then, hey, Romy Gonzalez, let's go.
Man.
I also think it's hilarious that Bill brings up Roman Roy, right? And this whole time I've been thinking, Roman Roy, right? Succession. I haven't finished it, so please no spoilers.
I haven't watched the show.
But the whole time Kendall Graveman's been in the bullpen, and I never made any Kendall Roy jokes. There's 3 brothers, and there's Connor. There's no Connor on the White Sox. There's Connor Gillespie, but we don't. He's not on the White Sox. But there's Roman Roy and Romy Gonzalez, and then Kendall Graveman and Kendall Roy. Oh, they're all dead. Great, that's good.
I don't think
it's all an island.
Okay.
It's all an island in the old man's head. I can't think of his name.
I don't know either. I've never seen the show. Is it really good?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's
so
great.
I should watch it. I should catch up. And
I have
watch
4 episodes left. A big thing just happened, and it just kind of I don't know. I just can't really process it.
I still got to do that one and the one
Logan.
with Adam Scott, the Apple TV show with Adam Scott, the actor from Parks and Recreation, who was Ben Wyatt.
Oh,
I forgot what that one's called. Somebody will help me in the chat, but
it's like about an office space, or it's like about an office.
I don't. It's probably about an office. Yeah, he's like a office guy. Somebody will remember it. But I, enthralled currently with Severance. That's what it is. Severance. I am currently enthralled with the best show on TV, maybe almost ever, Ted Lasso, and I think it might be ending tonight. So he's one of my favorites.
I'm happy for you.
Jason Sudeikis is great. Almost as good as Romy Gonzalez.
Yeah, let's move on. I don't have any thoughts about it. I don't have any thoughts about Ted Lasso.
You should. It's great. You like soccer.
I like gambling on soccer.
You like laughing.
Let's make this statement more clear. I like gambling.
You like laughing? Like fun?
Sudeikis is fine. I saw, what?
Probably one of the best
maybe
SNL
2 episodes, 3
time.
episodes Ted Lasso. I've seen 3 straight games of a Romy Gonzalez home run. I like that. I'm enjoying Romy Gonzalez just hitting.
You can't trade that guy. You can't trade that guy.
You just can't.
Not at all. I mean, that's good. He's finally coming to be the guy that Yasmani Grandal, and I'll put those in quotes because I don't know who it was, said to Rick Hahn, "Don't trade that guy.
Don't trade him."
Doesn't mean that I won't. And this would be the time that Rick would trade him. It would be actually a smart move because it's his highest time. But we do need a second baseman. Romy's been doing well on the bases, stole third base, and subsequently scored the run when that ball was thrown away. Hit a double, hit a home run. Roman Gonzalez is doing the thing that we have been looking for a second baseman to do for a long time. Elvis Andrus should be coming back from his rehab assignment. I know they're not going to DFA him because he's a veteran, because he didn't sign for a lot, but Romy, I think, would get the lion's share, if not all the playing time at second base until he proves me wrong, until he goes into the tank and can't hit anymore, which I don't think he can do. I'll live with whatever Romy Gonzalez can give me because I know there can be more there. Elvis Andrus is a limiting factor. What we got from him last year, great, awesome. And this is why I didn't want him to come back this year. Multiple reasons, because he'd be playing a different position. Secondly, because I didn't think that a 36-year-old Elvis Andrus can repeat this performance that he had for the White Sox last year. I thought it was just a getting out of Oakland type of jump. I'm out of prison now. I can do things in this.
I'm out of baseball hell.
Yeah, in this playoff push that we had, and he hit 9 home runs for the White Sox. He did very well, but I don't know if they're going to DFA him. But he's a good veteran to have in the clubhouse. A good veteran for whenever Tim gets hurt. Tim might get hurt again. Yohan might get hurt. He's hurt right now. One of these guys might get hurt, and having a guy that is at minimum, replacement level shortstop and can give you all right bat at Elvis Andrus is good. I would rather have him than Hanser Alberto.
I think we'll save that for when Vinny joins us. Vinny will be joining us later. We'll also be talking about the White Sox selling. We'll be bringing you some Rick Hahn video and audio after the break. But we got to talk about Luis Robert and his 2 doubles. You said, I in quote, Mike Trout sucks.
He does. Oh, my God. What do we make a big deal about this guy? He sucks. Okay. Does he do anything? What a bum.
Interesting. And we'll circle back to Lucas Giolito. But yeah, I do think it's interesting with Fred, bringing up Elvis should be DFA'd, but with Moncada hurt and TA probably going to be hurt again, he might stay around. I think immediately Hanser Alberto get off the team, but Hanser has the ability to play at third base. I know obviously Jake Berger does as well, but I don't know if that leans with Moncada seemingly dinged up or dealing with something. I don't know if that means he gains more importance, but we'll see. Also, shout out to Alex earlier and Kellen. Kellen saying, love you guys. Good win by the good guys. We love to see the good guys in black win. Yes.
Mercy.
They were wearing white tonight. Yes. But then Alex mentioning, get the likes up. I think we got 18. 18 was a retired number, right?
Cliff Polite.
It's not retired.
It's not retired.
It is not retired. Okay. No. All right. Cliff Polite.
The first
name.
Dan
Jennings? This is Dan. He's on the team for next year.
I don't know who Dan Jennings is. Oh, you mean Dan Johnson?
Oh, Dan Johnson.
That was what Ed Farmer had said. Home run in the boogie down Bronx. I think the last series of the year, Dan Johnson was going off for the White Sox.
29.
And then he was not on the team for next year. He was on some other team for next year. Oh, they don't like my Dan Johnson reference? What a dick. I got a thumbs down. What a jerk.
21 likes, though, so we don't have to play this game anymore. Good for us. 21? Is 21 on the team? We don't need to play this game. I don't know what I'm doing.
Don Cooper for a long time.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a person on the team right now that's 22, 21. Now we're at
22, Scott Potts. Hey, what number did Mike, who's the guy in the...
Darren
Huff?
Jackson.
Mike Huff?
Mike Huff, yeah.
What number did he wear?
Such a long time ago. He wore like a teen, let's see, like 14, 15, 16, something like that.
I got the numbers. 12 and 10. We
Yeah.
both accepted 12 and 10. From Honolulu, Hawaii.
Break glass in case of emergency. Mike Huff, always.
Northwestern. All right.
Smart guy.
I'm getting lost on the Mike Huff baseball reference. Let's get into Lucas Giolito and what he did today. We can show the actual lines. Thank you, Steven. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 4 hits allowed, 5 Ks, 2 walks for large game, Lucas Giolito. And then Tyler Anderson, 4 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 Ks, and 2 walks. What I want to get to, though, is the actual stuff that surprised me with Lucas Giolito. 40 sliders thrown. So Lucas Giolito, I know we always think about him as a fastball changeup pitcher, but here is that third pitch, and now it's become more of a main pitch, and I was just surprised of how effective it was. Many at-bats tonight, I think we were surprised at the effectiveness and bitingness of the slider. So it's exciting that he found... I'll get to that in a second. Exciting that he found that release point and the effectiveness to get that biting action. And the stuff was up for the slider, at least miles per hour, 0.7 miles per hour on average, and throwing it 40 times. That's good to see. And then let's go to the actual results of what it did. Fastball was a homer for both Ward and Ohtani. Mm-hmm. The Ward one was really bad.
Middle. I mean,
like first batter.
Not even like I mean, it's hard to get your, release point and your pinpoint accuracy on the first batter, but it's middle. Major League Baseball player.
Right.
Non-White Sox Major League Baseball player, so they're going to make damage to that ball. And Taylor Ward can crush that ball. And then he didn't learn his mistake from the first Ohtani at bat where he threw him a high fastball, and Ohtani skied it to the moon, and it went like 250 feet. Then the second one, Ohtani skied it 435 feet on a high fastball.
I think we literally threw 3 fastballs and 1 changeup to him in the first 4 pitches. It was just a surprising pitch selection. But still, those were the 2 big mistakes that he made. And he was sloppy, a couple 2-out walks and stuff. Obviously, there was another run that he added on. But let's go to the results of what these pitches did, Steven. The slider was extremely effective. 11 whiffs on 18 swings.
Pretty good.
4 called strikes, 15 called strikes plus whiffs on 40 sliders, 38% called strike plus whiff percentage against the Angels. He was very, very effective with that slider. It was fantastic. 4 balls in play, average exit velocity of 93.5. Just not a lot of people were hitting it, just in general. Obviously, some people were able to square it up, but overall, he was really, really damn good. A 61% whiff percentage. What? I mean, that's just stupid. 17 whiffs on the night on 49 swings, 35% whiff percentage. That's above average. And a called strike plus whiff percentage of 33%. Major league average is around 29%. 97 pitches today for Lucas Giolito. Hey, just want more length. I mean, that's really the biggest takeaway. But the stuff was good. I mean, that's a lot better and a way to bounce back than what he just did against the Tigers, where he gave up 6 earned runs against that team.
There must have been something like in the scouting report, or Luke's just feeling good about the slider today, or bad about the fastball, and he just went more to the slider today.
Or maybe it's more complete. I mean, I don't know if it has to be a good or bad, but it's like you have a fastball that you trust, you have a changeup that you trust, you have a slider that you can trust. You can trust. I think the big thing is that just more right-handed pitchers or right-handed batters. I mean, you can even see Ward being leading off. I mean, he's a right-hander, so I mean, usually you'd see Kepler or someone, a left-hander, leading it off especially with a right-hander on the bump. But they're even going with Ward right away because I think they're trying to eliminate that changeup and make him a 2-pitch pitcher. So the fact that you're going up against Trout and Ward and the
Renfroe,
and Wallach. You gotta use those pitches. I think that's probably why we see the slider go up. Yeah. But I think he trusts all the pitches.
Yeah, but is this like the first time we've seen this when his slider is dominant? I know we've seen that a lot.
We've seen it
with Dylan Cease, but usually, the fastball changeup, as you said, is his bread and butter with the slider mixed in there. But if he's going to be this guy and if he's going to be this effective, I like a little bit more length. Find the release point earlier. 2 walks is not, egregious, especially versus this team. But it just seemed like he was wild inside the strike zone today. And he can use a little bit more efficiency in his getting through the games and getting through the innings. But for what it was all right. It worked out, and the White Sox got a victory because the offense came and played. If you only give up 3 runs in 5 innings, I reluctantly accept it.
I'm surprised by this, but he's actually done this pretty rarely. I don't know how many starts he's made over the past 2 years, but no starts this year. This is his first start with slider percentage being the most that he's used in a game. July 8th of last year, 38.3%. That led his pitch mix. And then I think he tied it on September 9th with his four-seam fastball and slider. So I'd at least count that. So over the past 2 years, this is his third start where it's been slider has been his most used pitch. So it is at least exciting, I think, for him to at least flash that consistently. All right, let's jump into the guys who hit the double.
Yep.
Real quick. You could talk about Luis Robert because I know you were waiting for him to get hot, and 2 doubles today, very nice. But Beef Loaf, my guy, appreciate you tuning in. I only tuned in to see Sean gloat a good Andrew Vaughn game. I'm not, hey, I'm not trying to toot any horn or anything like that. I know where he was. I mean, 97 weighted runs created plus for a guy who is playing first base. I don't care if the defense is great. I don't care if the defense is bad. Hit homers. Like that's what I care about. Hit extra base hits.
Extra base hits. That's all I need from him. I don't necessarily need home runs, but extra base hits work too.
All I'm saying, Beef, is we were looking for something to turn the man around, and you tweeted out, hey, look, we diagnosed how stinky this guy is. And the past 5 games or so, 8 for 9, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 421 batting average, 429 on base percentage, 947 slugging percentage.
He's doing well.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty
good.
He's showing up.
Nice way to bounce back.
I know
you shit talked him and hey, boom.
I know the graphic, immediately hit into GIDP with the bases loaded, 1 out. But
that's the broadcast jinx too. That's the broadcast fault. That's not Andrew's fault.
What was the thing? It was like 7 on 7 on his last 7 at bats
in May.
May.
So yeah, they flashed this graphic. When I'm not saying like this graphic because like I gave it to Steven. The graphic that Herb is referring to, May 2023, extra base hits with runners in scoring positions. He was tied for first in Major League Baseball. Added another extra base hit tonight, but it wasn't with runners in scoring position. But 4 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 home runs. So 7 extra base hits with runners in scoring positions in the month of May, where this has been a bad month for him. So, I understand that he's not living up to the production, but if the White Sox have done anything right in the offseason, they let Jose Abreu walk. They didn't pay him $20 million. And Andrew Vaughn, even though he's not good at a major league level, is better than Jose Abreu. This could have been worse. And I don't think that it's crazy or illogical to think that Andrew Vaughn might find it. We're seeing him go to right center and more of the power alleys. We saw a double to both alleys today, and I think that's very exciting and promising to see. I'd like to see more home runs. That's a damn fact. I'm not going to, mince any words, but I think it could be coming, and I also have been saying that for 3 years. So we'll see.
Also, I think that people who are listening and maybe some who are viewing right now are like, well, you did it versus Tyler Anderson. He had almost a 5 ERA. Hey, guys. Have you seen the White Sox play this year? They've gone against these pitchers before, and they've made them look like Cy Young. So give them credit when they make a bum look like a bum. And that is what they did today. And Andrew Vaughn's bases clearing double is what turned the tide for the White Sox, because I think at that time I was right after the Ohtani home run. I was like, maybe we're not going to get any runs here. And then they started doing their thing in that inning. And Andrew Vaughn with the bases with runners in scoring position is a monster. So keep him in the spot he's at. If he earns some like a 5th spot or 4th spot, I have no problem with that. But right now he's on flame. So keep him in the 6th spot if you want. And the players in front of him are getting on base at a good clip, and he can drive them in. It's been a good couple days for Andrew Vaughn. Keep this right here. Keep it in this gear right now. because this is what we need from Andrew Vaughn to ascend to the heights that you know he can get to, that Rick Hahn believes he can get to when he drafted him 3rd overall, and where everybody in Major League Baseball said the hit tool will play from day one. It hasn't played as it should be consistently, and that's a theme throughout the White Sox. We saw the multiple doubles from Luis Robert after a whole weekend where he doesn't get one hit. We need more consistency out of these guys where they're just stringing together good days and not going 0 for a weekend. You know, overs are going to happen. Overs for a couple days happen. But with the hitting talent on this team, it shouldn't be prolonged slumps like they go through and then hotter than shit like they go through. Just give me good throughout. Just stretch that shit out all the way throughout the game.
I get that, but also like it is a long season, and here's some numbers for you.
Go ahead.
Let's play a little game here. Steven, write this down. Tuesday, May 30th. Andrew Vaughn has played in 55 of 57 of the White Sox games.
Tuesday, May 30th. Today. Okay.
He's played in 55 of 57 of the White Sox games.
Okay.
Andrew Vaughn has driven in 39 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 100 RBIs for Andrew Vaughn in 2023.
Over.
Okay. So is that not successful?
It's just an arbitrary number.
Okay.
But it's
like
an arbitrary number
100
that people think it like you hit 300, you're hitting well. You hit 100 RBIs, you're a good RBI man. I think RBIs are just a function of your teammates getting on base and you doing well while your teammates getting on base. But it also, I think, is a skill. So, yeah, if he gets 100 RBIs, I think most people are like, it's a pretty good season.
Maybe more of the point of, though, that, and again, 0 career WAR. That's fine.
He hasn't lived up to, don't get us wrong, Matty. He hasn't lived up to close to his expectations, but some of that WAR was because he was so shitty as a left fielder, which made him so shitty as a hitter last year.
What I'm saying, too, is like, this team is, 11 games under 500 now after this win?
I believe so.
So, like, Andrew Vaughn's still driven in 39 RBIs on a sub-500 team and will likely surpass 100 RBIs. Like, he's replacing the guy that was known for playing 150-plus games and hitting 100 RBIs. So if he replaces Jose Abreu in the first season, playing 150 games and hitting or driving in 100 runs, I mean, like, I don't know. I think we're always looking for. I don't know. It's just we'll see.
You want me to make you mad?
You took the over though.
Do you want to make you mad and me mad at the same time?
Not really.
After you had the Andrew Vaughn bases clearing double, the other Andrew Benintendi actually got credit for a sacrifice bunt. I think he was doing that on his own, trying to get a hit because he's not good. But they gave him credit for a sacrifice bunt. I hate it. You had the pitcher on the run with no outs, a runner on second. You're a left-handed hitter. If you want to advance the hitter, just hit the ball to the right side of the infield like you always do. Or hit it in the air to right field because Andrew Vaughn could not make it from left field. Even if it was like in the farthest reaches of left center field, he could not make it. So I just don't like the execution, firstly. And then secondly, why do it? Just dumb. I hope it came from Pedro, not Andrew doing that by himself, because that is just weak sauce. It's not good baseball at all.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. So
I took your Andrew Benintendi hate right there because he's costing me money.
Oh, don't bet on him. I as a friend.
Start hitting
as
home
a friend,
runs,
you don't owe me it.
No, I pay my bets.
You could say you were drunk. I'll let it slide.
Sean, I'm never drunk because you know why? Drinking my 312. My this is Goose Island's full pocket pills right here.
We are taking a break, but it's actually in the second. It's in the second ad break.
So I'm never drunk. It's always smooth.
Put that beer on ice.
This is on like 5.6. No, 5.2. Delicious.
Yes. All right, let's go into the ad break and talk about Shady Rays. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair. no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with our friends over at Shady Rays. And exclusively for our listeners right now, actually, no, it's not exclusive for our listeners. It's the site-wide sale because it's still going on.
Exclusive. For you guys.
It's still going on. You could use code CHGO. I'm not sure if it's currently active because right now they have a better deal going on. Shady Rays Memorial Day sale is live right now. Go to shadyrays.com and get 35% off all sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And then we'll let you know about our great code in a different time because it's not active right now. I don't think they're telling us to read someone else. So. Okay. You're flashing the code. Take that code. All right, let's go into the next ad break. Let you know about our friends over at Athletic Greens. Funny, we're in the middle of an ad break, so I'm not going to swear. Kid you not, we did, but it was more context. But kid you not, I walked home and I saw an AG1 box in my mailroom. It's kind of front door mailroom. And I was like, oh. I didn't know I was ordering anything.
Viewer.
My neighbor.
Oh, your neighbor loves you.
Yeah, no, not even.
Yep.
I don't even think they used the code.
Stop.
I slipped a note on the door. Said, "Hey, use code CHGO Sox at checkout." But
sorry, you own one.
My neighbor knows. I know.
I know.
AG1. Herb knows that AG1 is the best way to take care of your body. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your ability to recover, focus, and helps you from aging. All the important things to live a very, very thoughtful life. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and it costs less than $3 a day if you're because you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than a cold brew habit. And Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews. So right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No needs for millions of different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Sox. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO SOX to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thank you to our friends over at Athletic Greens. You know what is crazy? Herb, yep. I'm not trying to be stinky, but we do the show. Love doing the show.
Yep.
Love all the people in the chat. But the reply person that frustrates me the most is the people that share like basic stats with me. I got Google, pal. I got Google. But I know what a certain person's war is.
But I got it. But they're not probably talking to you. Maybe they're talking to.
I know.
People in the chat are talking to each other, which is good. That's a nice community.
Even then, I could get more specific about something that's more direct towards me when I'm sharing. Michael Conforto's home run totals. Yeah, I kind of very much focusing on the home run totals, and then when
sure he's hitting 214.
Right, exactly. And it's
does that work, Steven?
I didn't ask. All right. Well, he's joining too early. Okay. Here is the important thing.
Okay.
The White Sox, will they be buyers or sellers? They've now played 57 games, a little bit past the 1/3 mark of the season. And our guy, Vinnie Duber, is going to be joining us in a second, but he was at Guaranteed Rate Field yesterday when Rick Hahn spoke to the media and addressed Vinny's question specifically. Vinny posted an article over at allchgo.com about will the White Sox be buyers or sellers on Memorial Day. We'll talk about that with him in a second after we hear from Rick Hahn. We'll also talk about his Liam Hendriks article because Liam Hendriks returned yesterday, so make sure you stay tuned. But Rick Hahn talking about being at the Memorial Day marker and what it means for the White Sox future, especially for the trade deadline.
Look, the fact that we haven't played the way we feel we're capable of on a consistent basis is probably the biggest challenge. You're absolutely right that first sort of marking post is Memorial Day, and we're we're probably going to have a similar conversation around the 4th of July about where things sit and where things go. I think the frustration we all felt in April, we haven't completely rinsed ourselves of. We know that this team is capable of performing at a level we saw glimpses of over the last 4 weeks, but not enough consistency. So that's what we're looking for going forward. Again, it's trending better, but not to the level that we needed to.
So as you guys kind of start a decision-making process or look toward a decision-making process for what you guys are going to do the rest of the way here, are you guys still in kind of wait-and-see mode a little bit to see if the consistency arrives?
I mean, what we want, obviously, is for the consistency to arrive and us to be in contention and obviously win this division come the end of the year. There will come a point where that becomes apparent that that's not very likely to happen, and at that point we'll have to make that final decision about direction. It's not a decision we have to make on Memorial Day. Fact is, our scouts are out doing their business, our analysts are doing their preparations so that we're prepared for whatever direction we ultimately decide we need to go once the trade deadline's a little closer to us. But from a performance standpoint, we know we're capable of more, and again, we need to see that consistency soon.
A great question asked by Vinnie Duber to White Sox general manager Rick Hahn, so why not throw it out to not only Vinnie Duber, who was there and asked the question, but to Herb Lawrence and myself. Will the White Sox be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? We're closing in on June 1st here, Vinny, and after talking to Rick and hearing that answer, what do we make of what will determine whether the White Sox lean one way or the other? I mean, you mentioned the White Sox being 11 games under 500 before that game and being about 6 games out. Is it more about the record? Is it more about the division? Or is it more about the way they're playing?
Well, I guess it's more about both the record and the division, right? Because I think in a vacuum, this team would scream seller, easy seller, right? I mean, they woke up yesterday on Memorial Day with one of the 3 worst records in baseball. There's no getting around that. They have not really been able to climb too much out of the hole that they dug for themselves with that horrible April. That being said, they're in this division race. There's no doubt about that either, because the Twins, nor really any other team, has decided to bury the White Sox, which they could have done with how poorly the White Sox played in the first month of the season. But here we are at Memorial Day, now a day after Memorial Day, and I don't think they can make that decision yet. That's basically what Rick Hahn was saying, is that it's too early for them. Now, obviously, they are optimists. They like the team that they put together, and they would like to see that team play the way they thought that team was going to play. And if that happens, given this weak division, they could be not only still contending in this division race, but near the top of it if they get the desired performances here over the next couple of months. But right now, their record says sell, 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 but the division says buy, buy, buy. So, and that was not an NSYNC reference. It was just, it just happened to be that way. But yeah, so the answer to your question, does it have more to do with the division or more to do with their record? Well, right now, both of those things are on equal standing, really, and really preventing them from going one way or the other, even if the play has been what the play has been, and fans know that in any other year would make them an obvious seller.
No, the natural follow-up is that Digital Get Down is the better song from that album. I know you care about that.
I mean, I'm more of a JC person. And,
who doesn't love
I was
Shazay?
over at Bric-a-Brac. I mean, we were supposed to, clip this up, but now we're going on a tangent, so that's great. People are getting exactly what they want.
The clip is Vinny. He's got the information.
Well, we know we were going to make this a whole segment, but
No.
I mean, now we're just going on a tangent. But I was at Bric-a-Brac down Milwaukee, and they had
Right spot.
all 5 of the NSYNC figurines. I didn't know how much of a toy shop that also was, so that was very cool to figure out. But they had all of the members in the marionette boxes.
From No Strings Attached, yeah.
Justin Timberlake, $20, JC, $21. Boom. All right, just showing you the importance. I'm more of a pop guy. That third album, I really do appreciate it. I think that first album, it's fine.
The self-titled NSYNC album, great.
All Strings Attached to it's better, but I
No
think
Strings Attached is much better.
The final album is where they really shine.
Guys, it's all terrible. Go ahead. What's next?
I knew you were going to say
Let's I
knew you were going to say that.
Let's reset, and with the power of editing, we'll be able to cut around that. Herb, going to could you scroll up, Steven? Going to Jamie or Jaime in this division, why would they sell?
Perfectly asked question, and I would say they shouldn't, no matter where they're at the time of the trade deadline, because I don't think it's going to be too far away from whoever's leading the AL Central at that time. It could even be the White Sox. So I don't see anything positive coming off a sell-off for the White Sox. That just means that the rebuild's done. We're admitting the rebuild's done, and we have another one coming for you, White Sox. And sadly, say you White Sox fans who want Rick Hahn and or Kenny Williams to depart, I don't think that would happen either, because they've been numerous times of where they should have been fired. Last year, offseason, they should have been fired. They're back. And so they're going to be continuing doing this. So I would say just push forward. Like, you've already done the rebuild now. Go forward with more of it. I don't know if you have enough inventory to trade away. You have major league talent that, in a second, it's going to be a lot of overwhelming talent on the team, and the place to put all these hitters on the lineup is going to be a problem, a good problem, as Rick Hahn likes to say. But I don't know if those players that are not playing are enticing to another team that would be selling off. They'll be looking for more youth, more people who are going to be MLB ready and then playing for years to come. So Colson Montgomery, who's been hurt, or Ramos, things like that. And so I don't know if those are attractive pieces to other teams. But if they are, you gotta throw that in. You have to, because this is one of the last years, because we've talked about it before. Lucas is probably going to be gone, or it's going to be a free agent next year, and you only have 2 people signed next year for your starting rotation. So I think you have to go all in at the trade deadline to get at least this AL Central championship, and then look to the playoffs and say, hey, if we get outings like Lucas Giolito usually gets us, if we get the Lance Lynn back, and if Michael Kopech turns into the guy that's shutting people down for 2 straight starts, and then we even talk about Dylan Cease, who hasn't been Dylan Cease yet, they can win games in the playoffs because their pitching staff and at their top of their peak is pretty good. It's at the top of the level. I think we also agreed at the beginning of the year that this starting staff, it would be the strength of the White Sox. It hasn't been so far, but we've seen glimpses in this month of May where they went, 10 straight with a little blip in there with the opener start, where they went quality start after quality start. And we could see that continuing throughout. Lucas Giolito wasn't that quality starter today, but he did give you good effort today. If we get that type of thing, and you get a couple hits like you get today, where the bottom of the lineup's also hitting and then the top of the lineup is hitting, I think there's not the sky's the limit, but I think they can do some damage in the playoffs this year if they push all in at the playoffs and maybe win the AL Central. I know they've been underwhelming this year, but trust me, I know you guys feel it too. These guys can win this garbage-ass division just by default.
Well, it's a big if, but if they do win tomorrow, they will have won 6 out of the 9 series in May. So at least improvement. And I did like how Rick in his presser yesterday said, it's pretty easy to improve on what we did in April. So we'll take 6 out of 9 series wins. But what I guess I didn't get clarity with Rick was, they're not really sure whether they're going to lean buyer or seller. But even yet, he probably doesn't know. If they're buying, are they buying for the future? Are they buying for 2023? If they're selling, are they completely selling off, or is it a retooling? Is it going to be another rebuild, or is it going to be we're trying to make sure that Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn, etc. have the right start for 2024 when we're going to try to win this division again?
Well, I think that's the next part of that question, but it cannot be answered until they have an answer this way, right? I mean, I think it's all part of that. Have they made a decision, buyer or seller yet? No, which means they haven't made a decision on the other avenues that they can take. I think what you just said there shows that there are options and there are ways that this can go, right? And I think that's what the next month or month and a half even could tell them. Herb is talking about, they can't sell because that means the rebuild's over. Well, does it? I mean, they could sell in a way where they're only getting rid of the guys who are going to be gone at the end of this year anyway. They could sell in a way where all the core guys stay, all the core position players stay, and it becomes kind of all right. They're going to try to get better for 2024, or you're right. They could go a different direction. Maybe they crater and they say, all right, we got to do this over again. We got to work on the longer term picture here, or they could get better and they could buy for this year to try to win the division, or they could do what they always like to do when they make trades, which is say, well, we're going to go get a guy who has an option for next year and can help us in the year beyond. It's what they did when they traded for Craig Kimbrell, right? And it's what they did when they traded last year for Jake Diekman. Obviously, it was a much lower profile trade, but it was the same kind of thing being said by Rick Hahn at the time, which was, hey, this is a guy who can help us this year, but also, look, we've got him for next year too, and that can be a thing. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but I'm just providing an example. So, there's the rental, there's the longer term buy, there's the longer term rebuild, there's the shorter term work, bolster up for next season kind of thing. There's a lot of routes they could go. And that is part of the answer. It's all under the umbrella of they've yet to make that decision yet because they don't know where this team maybe is going to be. They're, again, hopeful that it will play the way over the next month that they thought it was going to play all year, and it hasn't played to this point. But it could also go the opposite way, or it could stay right where it is too. And they could be, looking at this exact same, dilemma, which is, hey, the record is horrible, but the division is not out of reach. What do we do? Kind of thing. So time is probably the answer. Patience is probably the answer, which is what nobody in the fan world likes to hear. But it seems to be where they're at right now because I don't think they can make a definitive decision right now.
I hear what you're saying, Vinny. I 100% agree that they will probably do a combination or one of those things that you just mentioned at the trade deadline. But I would like, if you're going to do it without any half measures. So the old Mike Trout thing, just go all the way out. Like, if you're going to sell off. Don't just sell off selected pieces to retool for next year. That reminds me of the middling 2012 to 2016 years where Rick famously said mired in mediocrity, where you're just trying to get the division, but you're not really doing anything to get the division. You're not going aggressively after it, but you're also not going aggressively after the tank. That's why I love the rebuild and what they were talking about there, because it was finally the decision to, all right, let's bottom out this thing and then let's build back up. And Rick did a fantastic job with the trades and acquiring talent. So I would love for them, and you already know my feelings about the actual general manager and the vice president coming back, but I would, if they're going to come back, just do a full measure. Go all the way in or go all the way out. Not the Lucas, you're out of here, Lance Lynn, and then bring in a couple or starters next year.
I mean, right now they're 6 games back, and you're saying, I mean, it wouldn't just be Lucas or Lance. I mean, as Vinny said, like expiring deals, that would also, I think, include Kelly because he's got an option, or at least Graveman because I think he's got an option. So they would be able to move some of the bullpen pieces as well. I mean,
technically, whoever has an option, but it's a $15 million option, so he's going to be on the team next year anyway. You put it with Liam Hendriks, and after what he did, and to come back, I would be absolutely apoplectic if they traded Liam Hendriks off of his team.
If he's valuable, I mean, wouldn't that be a half measure to keep him around? I mean,
yeah, you got
what games are we saving?
I'm hoisted by my own petard. All right. Good job, Sean.
Vinny, what do you make of that? Because, I mean, I know some people have wariness in this city, especially with this franchise, because of the white flag trade, them being 3.5 games out and then kind of folding at the trade deadline, especially with this core. Herb saying go all out, but, I mean, at least the bullpen, I feel like that could be thinned out. I feel like you don't have to trade Lucas Giolito or Lance Lynn to go full out. I don't know if that is just dipping your toes in the water a little bit, but I mean, if the White Sox are still 6 games out, I wouldn't say trade Lance Lynn and Lucas Giolito. I'd say keep them around and maybe move some of the smaller pieces to try to get a starting pitcher or 2 starting pitcher arms to fill
definitely-
out the farm that could possibly be an arm to maybe be the Davis Martin replacement, not even be one of the 5 starters for next year, but be one of those depth arms. I don't know what you make of the idea of putting a full toe in or the full foot in or just a toe.
Well, I mean, I guess I would point to the difference between now and maybe way back when the white flag trade was brought up, and Rick Hahn yesterday needed to be reminded of what it was because it took place so long ago before he even started with this team. So the difference is that they've been building to this moment for a long, long time. And Herb, you bring up, how you bring up the rebuilding process and the idea of another one happening. Rebuilds in 2023 and this era of baseball are not a quick patch. That's a years-long process, as White Sox fans well know, because this is supposed to be the final act of that process, right? This is supposed to be the winning time right now. It hasn't worked out that way to this point, but I think there's been too much put in to this to say, all right, well, we'll just, do it all again, do it all over again. I guess this didn't work. I don't know if you can officially call the time of death on this yet, while all these guys are still here, while all these core players are still here and still under White Sox employment. If you want them to clean house, that's one thing, but to, say that there's no future beyond 2023 for this group of players, it's not, I don't think that's really 100% decided yet, is it? I mean, if they believe in these guys still, why would you not, if that's the way they end up being positioned come July, why would you not try to put them in the best position to compete again in 2024? I don't think 2024 is being punted on at all. I mean, certainly 2023 is not being given up on at this point right now, but especially not next year. You got, again, I understand why White Sox fans would be frustrated by me saying that, oh, look, you got Eloy and Tim Anderson and Luis Robert and Moncada and blah. They've had these guys for years now, I understand. But the point being that those guys were put on this roster to compete for years and years. And next year is one of those years. And unless one of them truly falls flat on their face and needs to be given up on, I don't see why they wouldn't try to if they're in the position to do what they can to get these guys to the postseason and give these guys a chance to compete, whether that means this year trading, buying and giving them more, to compete to win this division, or if it means if they're out of it next year, trading a guy on an expiring contract to get this team some help for 2024 to try and be in the mix to win that division next year as well. So I don't think giving up is going to be the answer from this front office when it comes to this roster that they have spent years rebuilding to get to this point.
Do you have a follow-up?
No, that was perfect. That was good.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't sure. I mean, I think the biggest concern kind of showed itself in the 8th inning tonight to weave in a little bit of tonight's action. We saw Moncada batting from the right side and, looked really hesitant on a couple swings, looked like he tweaked something. I know that it's been ongoing, this nerve back issue for Moncada. Did we get an update from Pedro on what Moncada is possibly dealing with, or is it just he's been dealing with it?
I guess there were no specifics given really in the postgame tonight. Pedro was asked, hey, what kind of happened there? Is he okay? Kind of thing. And Pedro kind of launched into what he said before, which is, hey, these guys have played a lot of games. These guys have been doing a lot of work, and nobody is really at 100% health, which is something that I bring up relatively often here. It's the realities of baseball that these guys are going to play through some of this stuff. But yeah, maybe this is something that is just ongoing. Obviously, it popped up tonight, but until it lands a guy on the injured list, it's going to just be something that is around. I think, and again, I'm speaking very generally because there were no specifics offered tonight from Pedro specifically about Moncada. Just that, hey, these guys are not 100% healthy. That stamina bar is not full green, and it's something that they're going to have to deal with because on one hand, that's baseball, and everybody has to deal with it. And on the other hand, what else are they going to do? These guys are needed to get the White Sox out of this hole.
Yeah, and just to circle back to, I mean, Moncada is an important part of all of this and his health, because going back to just the depth and the core, Beefloaf has always tweeted this out. He put together just the White Sox and the position and just the length of the contract, right? So because Grandal's contract's running up, there is no catcher for the 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027 window. Same with second base. Same with right field, unless you want to include Eloy Jimenez as a right fielder, but we could put him at DH. But you look at that, I mean, TA is gone after 2024. Lynn and Hendricks both have options after 2024. And Moncada has an option in 2025. So, like, I'm not sure how long this core has, really, just because some of these deals are going to run up. I mean, Robert's obviously the biggest piece, and he's on the team until 2027. Eloy on the team until 2026. But, I mean, that's two players right there. If you want to include Vaughn, he's here until 2026. But it does look odd. Even ceases up after 2025. So I'm not really sure what the White Sox would look like, even if they were retooling, because it really depends on how much you love Luis Robert and how much he can truly contribute to a full season. And if we see him play 150 games and he's putting up 9 WAR, it's a superstar. But we've also seen Mike Trout and the Angels struggle to get to the playoffs consistently, and he's been one of the best center fielders. So they're seem to be in a rock and a hard place with this decision again.
Well, I'll say this, and I think this is good to remember. Obviously, the ultimate goal is obviously winning the World Series for every team in baseball, and all the decisions you make or a front office makes rather are geared toward accomplishing that goal of winning the World Series. But don't let that line of thinking that the front office needs to abide by necessarily be the only line of thinking that you as a fan or myself as an observer can abide by, right? Because this is a franchise that has not gone to the playoffs many times, ever. And so winning a division might not be, and winning the division and quote unquote just making the playoffs might not be that ultimate goal. It might not accomplish what everybody that works for and roots for this team wants them to accomplish. But that doesn't mean it's not that it's bad, because this team, this franchise, I should say, does not have a lot of flags up here from not just winning the World Series. I mean, for just making it to October. And so don't discount the idea, or I should say maybe the value or the positive that it could be for them attempting to do something to win this division. You say, hey, Herb, it's a garbage division. It's terrible. It's true. They haven't. It has been very bad, no doubt about that. But winning it gets them to the playoffs. And when you're the White Sox, I don't think that that's the worst thing, because they haven't done it much, and it's a good thing to give to these players. It's a good accomplishment for them, for these players, and it's a good accomplishment for these fans to be able to say, hey, they did something, they won something. And I think everybody gets so caught up in, there's only one fan base that can be happy every year, and it's the one that wins it at the end. I think that thing comes in a little bit of degrees. That's my opinion, and I could see if you guys don't agree. But I think the idea, Sean, of being like, oh well, we've got to look ahead to see what this roster is going to look like to craft this perfect championship window where they can go 4 for 4 in World Series. Blah 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 blah. There's also the idea of, again, you don't want to be, to quote the quote, mired in mediocrity. Absolutely. But there's the idea that if they were to buy this July to win a division, good on them, right? They're trying to win. Everybody hates the tank. So let them try to win. Let them win a division. That's not a total failure. I don't think.
I'm not against the total failure thing, but and I hear your point about the perfect championship window or whatever, but it's more about just like Rick Hahn said, ask me after the parade, right? I mean, that was the whole goal, making the World Series, and now it's just, maybe this team can make the playoffs.
Again, vacuum.
We're talking about a team that's 11 games under 500 right now that just went 81-81. I mean, the big thing isn't even making the playoffs or going 4 for 4 or even winning one title. This is right now been a failure of a rebuild.
I agree, and in a vacuum, what you said, especially about the White Sox, 100%. I do agree that making the playoffs in baseball, while it's a little easier to do nowadays than it was back in the day, is an accomplishment every year. But as Sean said, I think Rick overspoke, and maybe he's taken those words back, but want to compete for multiple championships. They have not done that. Have not. We haven't had a parade yet. So that's what I think most White Sox fans are holding them to. But yes, if they make the playoffs, I think any team making the playoffs, it's a victory. It's a goal that every team sets at the beginning of the year. It's like, we want to make the playoffs so we can be in the tournament. And once we're in the tournament, anything can happen. But that's where we're coming from, where they set a goal, set a mark, and they said, this is what we're doing. And that they set the expectations for the fans, and fans' mouths got watering. And it's like, all right, that's what you're doing. I like to talk. Let's build it. Let's back it up with some walk.
Well, and
let me clarify. I mean, I'll just say I'm specifically talking about moving forward. Okay. You're absolutely correct. Everything you guys said there is absolutely correct as they turn the lights off on me in the stadium. You guys are absolutely correct in comparing what has happened to the expectations that were set, right? To the lofty goals that were set and have to this point very much not been reached. That is 100% true. But I'm talking about now everybody viewing it through the lens of, oh, well, they've got to go back and tear it down again if they're ever going to be in that position. That might be true, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with, or I don't think they should be blasted, for example, if they try to win the division this year. Like, that's what they should be doing. They should be trying to win the division this year.
I absolutely. I mean, again, like, if your goal is to win the World Series, you got to make the playoffs, and that's the easiest route to make the playoffs, is win this easy cakewalk division. I mean, you spend so much money. I mean, again, you should be able to. I know it's a joke because you got to play the games, but you should be able to buy the AL Central with the amount that you've been spending over the past 2 years. I mean, $385 million on over 2 years on this roster. It should have produced a division title. I mean, I'm not even being greedy with that. I mean, that was the goal, at least, for this team, and they missed the mark. All right, we got a super chat we got to get to. We got to take a break, and then we'll hit some rapid fire questions. And since they're turning off the lights on Vinny, we're already over an hour. Jesus. All right, Matty Rice saying, when was the last time any of you guys felt this was a cohesive clubhouse? There just seems to be a separation amongst the players. Vinny, I know obviously we talked about that a little bit last year. There was a report from Bob Nightingale about cliques in the dugout. Maybe we just take this to more Pedro in the 57 games. Is there anything that you do see that's a little bit different, or maybe that's unique to Pedro's clubhouse over the managers that you have seen, Tony and Ricky mainly for the White Sox?
I don't know. I don't know if Pedro has done it something terribly different. I just think that when people ask that question, they're judging it by what they see through a TV screen, and they're not even seeing the TV through the TV screen. They're not even seeing the clubhouse. So, I mean, you're literally just watching them play a baseball game every day. I don't think that this is a problem. I think that it looks very much to me like many of the other, if not all the other clubhouses that I've been in. Listen, guys move in groups just like you do at work, right? People talk to certain people at work, and the other people aren't part of their little, joke circle or something like that. That's just how it works. And this is a unique workplace in that it has guys from different backgrounds and that speak different languages even. So, I'm not sure that this is accurate, separation amongst the players. I don't think that's really anything. But I would just say that it reminds me a lot of past clubhouses. You can take that for what it's worth, but I'm not sensing the negativity even that I was last year when it was very apparent that their failure to live up to the expectations of last season was kind of dragging on them.
Well, and two, I also saw a complaint yesterday after Aloy hit his home run that the White Sox were smiling too much in the clubhouse and that they weren't taking it seriously enough. So, let's just win some games. I feel like that's just the whole. It's nice when they win 7-3, right? I think we can all agree on that. Let's take a break. I think we love ComEd, don't we, Herb?
We do, because the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills. Now, and into the future, Sean.
ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC system, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
How does that work, Sean?
Oh, Herb, an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. And these can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. And then within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they could start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, do you own a business, Herb?
I don't yet, but I wouldn't wait,
There
though.
you go. You wouldn't wait. Don't wait, folks. If you own a business, get started saving money and energy today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/powering-biz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
Can you spell biz?
B-I-Z?
Yes, I did.
Well, damn good.
ComEd.com/powering-bid. Biz. Not bid. Biz. What you drinking, Herb?
I'm drinking a delicious Goose Island full power pills.
Look at you. It's what the Brewers are drinking over at Goose Island. You also got the 312 Wheat Ale that you were drinking on the pregame show. And I even want to just go a deep cut, all right? It's the Sophie. It's a Saison with the orange peel.
Fancy.
Picked that up at the Target and had a sip of that. And, oh, wow, very orangey, very nice, a very flavorful beer. So, I mean, you could go with the 312. You can go with the Lemon Shandy Sampler. You could go with the Full Pocket Pills. You could go with the Sophie. You could go with the Matilda. Vinny, you got a favorite that I haven't mentioned yet, or have I hit most of them?
You've mentioned my two favorites. Remember that 312 raspberry deal we were having down in Oklahoma?
Absolutely.
That was real good.
Hell yeah. And hey, too, I was watching Top Chef, and I was watching season 4. They did that one in Chicago. I saw the old Goose Island case, the old logo, the red logo for Honker's Ale. So it was a huge throwback to 2004. So shout out to Goose Island. They've been Chicago's beer since 1988, and they are our beer over here at CHGO. We're very proud of them being our sponsor. So go over to their 2 locations. They have one in Lincoln Park on Clybourne Avenue, the original Goose Island Brewhouse, and their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown, Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. Let's get into just some quick ones. We touched on this, and then now we're an hour in, so hey, things get away. Is Romy the next second baseman? And I'll phrase it this way, too. Between Elvis, Hanser, and Romy, when Elvis is active, who loses a roster spot? Vinny, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Herb.
I mean, right now, just based on sheer playing time, it's probably got to be Hanser Alberto, but we'll see if and how that is done. Romy Gonzalez is hitting right now, and so, I mean, I think he deserves the opportunity that he's gotten while Elvis has been on the IL. That IL stay is probably going to wrap up pretty soon, but remember, Romy Gonzalez was talked about as a versatile player in spring training. They could maybe find some ways to get him into the lineup, but while he's hitting, he's got to stick around. And Pedro said as much tonight, saying if he's going to hit a home run every game, then of course they're going to have to find some at bats for him.
Yeah, I agree with Vinny. I think Romy should be in the lineup majority of the time, even when Elvis comes back. And yeah, it'll be Hanser Alberto will be the casualty out of those 3, but I don't even know if he will be actually not on the team at that time. So yeah, Romy deserves more playing time. The lion's share of playing time until he proves that he's not the guy or not doing the hitting that he was early in the year, like in April. If he's hitting like that, yeah, you sit him on the bench. But he has so much versatility with the playing and with pinch running. He's one of the fastest runners on the team.
I like his range at second, too. I mean, we saw a play where he went behind the second base bag towards
in front of Tim, yeah.
And picked that ball up and made a nice throw. So, I mean, I don't even know if I've seen the versatility as much, but I like him playing second. So I can't complain too much. I would say Romy, and then I wouldn't be surprised, too, for like an IL stint for Hanser. I don't know if they're going to DFA him.
I think I'm going to get an IL to the end and play.
We saw him hurt his shoulder or on that swing, so maybe, hey, it's been acting up. Maybe it's a phantom stint for Hanser. But I do think that Hanser is probably the right answer there. 2-inning Raylo. Any mentions on that from Pedro? He just looked fantastic.
He was awesome. And he's been a lot better in May. Obviously, he had those troubles in April. The bullpen in general has been much, much better in May. But, man, Lopez has looked good, and boy, did he look good tonight. that second inning that he pitched, struck out all 3 batters he faced. They weren't doing anything against him. And Lucas was talking about, some of the pitches he was throwing and how it might be harkened back to his starter days a little bit. You forget that Lopez maybe had the stamina at one point to go the rest of the way, right? and in a game like this, if he was that hot.
He struck out like 15 in a game. I mean, like in a major league game, he was real good at one point. 8 whiffs on 18 swings for Reynaldo Lopez tonight. Final one for Vinny. You wrote an article up on All CHGO. We talked about it in the pregame. But Liam Hendriks, his wonderful return yesterday. I know Liam spoke postgame about the experience. I know even Christy spoke, and you have the quotes in your piece at allchgo.com so people can go and read it there. But what was your biggest takeaway? Because I know obviously we've talked about this over the 6 months that it's been ongoing that we've known about it. But is there anything new about Liam's battle or Liam's return that you want to share with people?
Well, I think just what struck me was that it was a mix of a very, very unique moment and getting a guy back who we all know so well, right? And seeing both the unexpected and the expected from him. He's a guy who was very emotional in soaking that in last night. And I don't think the way that both he and his wife Christy talked, he wasn't that guy really during the cancer process. And for him to all of a sudden be welcomed back officially, it got to him in a good way. You know what I mean? It made him emotional. It made him tear up. He was talking about crying when he saw the White Sox video that they put out the night before. He came out for the check presentation for the Lymphoma Research Foundation and was crying while he was standing there next to his wife. And then obviously not looking like it was a regular day at the office when he stepped on the mound and everybody in this stadium was clapping for him. It got to him. And it, like I said, in a good way. And that's the unique, that's the special about last night. But of course, there he was. He doesn't make a pitch the way he wants to, and he's already cursing, and you can hear it up in the press box. You're talking to him after the game. Hey, man, you just beat cancer. You're back from cancer. This is amazing. And he's talking about being pissed about the 2 runs that he gave up. I mean, this is the guy who everybody knows, who the White Sox know, who White Sox fans know. And so that mix of both the very abnormal in a very good way and the very normal in this guy being here like it was just yesterday. That's kind of what struck me last night.
Yeah, and it was an amazing moment. I was there. It was great times, and that crowd gave him, I think, the welcome back that he deserves and more. And I just caution people who I know people already, and Liam himself mad about his outing. Just caution people. Like last year, he did the same type of thing. We remember the Detroit game, and in the early April, I remember I was getting on you, Sean. I was like, this man Liam's still struggling, and you're like, he'll be fine. Calm down. This May 30th or May 29th yesterday is like his April, and he just beat cancer. So a little grace will go a long way, guys. Like Liam, doesn't need your boo hisses. He gets on himself harder than you would ever do. So I just find it phenomenal that he's on the mound 5 months after his 6 months after his diagnosis, but 5 months after he made it public, and the fact that he went through all that stuff and was still out there pitching, because I have known cancer patients that have done radiation chemotherapy, and that stuff drains you. And for the long hours that he was doing, he was still out there keeping a positive mindset and actually just pitching and actually working with the team. And Vinny would show us and tell us, like, he's here in Arizona working out, doing the things that he usually would do. And that's an amazing story, and it couldn't happen to a better baseball player. I just don't say it because he had cancer. We said Liam is a community guy. He cares about people who are not him, that are in marginalized groups. And so I couldn't be happier for him and his wife, Christy, that they've beaten this thing, and I know they're going to do great things. They're just great people. So it's good story all around. And everybody around baseball, you saw it, the outpouring of affection was universal.
Yeah, it's about to be Pride Month as well, as the calendar's about to turn to June, and that's an important month to Liam and his wife, as we know from his past, just what he's put out over the past 2 years during Pride Month. And it was AAPI Heritage Month today at the ballpark. I know they were handing out T-shirts. I know our Pale Jana Scurio got a shirt, and Shohei Ohtani homered. So look at that. You know, I mean,
Great
there
day.
you go, baby. He's proud of his heritage. But anyways, let's go wrap it up for the CHGO White Sox postgame show. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and he's got not one, but 2 articles for you at allchgo.com about buying or selling for the White Sox at the trade deadline, and of course Liam Hendriks' return over at allchgo.com. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at ActorWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader.
35 likes. You know who that is?
We're at 36 now. So it's Kevin Smith.
Kevin.
And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button on the way out. And we will see you tomorrow after the series finale between the White Sox and the Angels. Go Sox.